Hi there, I'm Mark Morin, and if you watched my intro video, then you have some sense of my work. This video is a deeper dive into my background, approach, and how I've helped teenagers unlock their potential. I'm a former math classroom teacher who has survived teaching teenagers at top independent schools. I'm also a multi-award winning math student. Yes, that's a thing. I'm a trained counselor and life coach. And these days, I also work as an executive coach, helping business leaders become their best selves and more effective in their roles. And I've discovered whether you're 15 or 50, if you want to be accomplished and fulfilled, then you need to be on a path of growth and self-improvement. I have been personally on this path passionately for decades. And I know that a life trajectory will be much different when starting down this path at 15 rather than 50. And this is one of the reasons I enjoy working with teenagers. If you ever try to get your teen to be more diligent or focused in their studies, maybe you've tried prodding them, removing devices, or using a reward system, only to notice that they resist, which can be very frustrating. Believe me, I've seen it all. But in this short video, I'm going to share what actually works. My secret sauce of blending life coaching with math tutoring. This approach helps teens excel academically while developing critical thinking, confidence, and a growth mindset. I also teach them how to cultivate calm for clearer thinking and build better habits for greater grades. Let's be honest, whether they're tackling trigonometry or navigating life's bigger challenges, these skills are essential. When I'm helping a student learn math, I work to establish a real connection with them. I tune into them, get curious, and aim to learn something about their world. Establishing trust and not being just another adult telling them what to do opens the door for a coaching relationship within tutoring. My goal in opening this door? To help teens develop key life skills like focus, yes, even in a world full of distractions, stress management, and building confidence, all crucial for deeper learning and problem solving, not to mention navigating life's curveballs. I'm personally a big proponent of cultivating critical thinking and helping students adopt a growth mindset. In math, it's very common for students with good memories to mechanically solve problems without truly understanding concepts. But to thrive in today's world, students need to develop the ability to think critically and solve unfamiliar problems on their own. A growth mindset, the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, is central to my work. This is something I know deep in my bones from my own life experience and work as a coach, that we all have the power to grow and improve. But here's something equally important. I also work with students on building confidence, especially when I notice that they're being way too hard on themselves. You know how it goes. Sometimes the biggest critic your teenager faces is the one in their own head. I help them recognize that, and we work together on dialing down the self-criticism. Kind of like getting them to turn the volume down on the inner voice that says, I can't do it. Instead, crank up the voice that says, let's give it a shot. I once worked with a student whose mind would practically freeze when he was too hard on himself. It was as though he was drowning in a whirlpool of self-criticism, completely losing his ability to think clearly. I could see the weight of his self-doubt pulling him down, so I reflected this back to him, gently pointing out that he was being far too harsh on himself. With a bit of awareness and encouragement, he began to recognize the pattern and shift his inner dialogue to a more supportive voice. And along with this, the current of emotions in him shifted as well. And over time, he became much more adept at interrupting his critic. Honestly, though, math is hardly the most difficult thing they'll face, but learning how to manage their inner critic to cultivate genuine confidence, that's a skill they'll use forever. Whether they're solving equations or facing life's challenges, having the confidence to fully engage and the resilience to keep going is invaluable. When I'm working with teenagers, I'm always on the lookout for areas of personal growth, whether it's improving their homework habits or managing test anxiety. You might know that many students rush through their homework faster than you could say TikTok. They rely on memory without truly understanding concepts. But in our tech-driven world, critical thinking is more important than ever. I teach students to slow down, discover more of their aha moments, and see the deeper connections in what they're learning. This builds a stronger foundation for retaining information and tackling real-world challenges, problems that don't come with instructions, but can be solved with creativity and grit. I ask a lot of questions in my tutoring sessions to guide them through their own thinking process. My Socratic approach encourages them to think critically while building their confidence in problem solving. I jump in and teach when necessary, especially with a test on the horizon. But I find myself often reflecting to students who just solved a tough problem that, hey, all I did was ask you questions. This is a process they begin to internalize. In doing so, they learn they can confidently find their way out of the forest, even when they feel lost at first. I had one student who was spending way too much time on his device, his phone, draining his batteries and his energy. When I asked what was getting in the way of putting more attention to his schoolwork, he acknowledged digital distractions were a challenge. Too much scrolling before starting. With a little coaching, he came up with a solution. Set up a distraction-free study zone. Place his phone in the drawer, set his books down on his desk, and give himself a real break before starting. With his routine, he was able to become much more focused and productive in his homework sessions. Not coincidentally, he raised his grade from a C to an A. I once had an anxious student came to a session in a full-blown panic attack. She was feeling completely overwhelmed. I stayed calm and guided her through a breathing and attention exercise. Within minutes, she felt the anxiety lift. She commented to me afterward that she had never been able to get out of an anxiety attack like this before. Not only did she have a powerful new discovery, but she was able to apply some of these techniques to exams, leading to greater calm and much better results. And the anxiety in students isn't always this strong. Sometimes it's more subtle, but I've learned that the state of mind anyone is in affects their ability to learn. And if someone's being critical or feeling anxious, that's going to get in their way of learning. So I address that directly, and I give them tools to become more aware of their state and to shift their states that can be in a better state of mind for learning math. Another student had all the potential in the world, but he wasn't applying himself fully. I challenged him to raise his standards. I reflected back to him that he had the ability to get an A. And sure enough, on the second test after we started working together, he got an A. And then he entered what I call the success motivation loop, which he achieving a higher level of success inspired him to maintain the habits that helped him succeed. This newfound success became a part of his identity. He began to see himself as someone who could get an A on his test, and he did what he needed to do to get the A's. So there you have it, folks. My approach is like a mathematical smoothie, blending life coaching into tutoring to help teens reach their potential in math and beyond. I aim for growth that supports development and elevates grades, equipping students with skills that will serve them long after they've forgotten the quadratic formula. If you'd like to learn more about how I can help your teen improve their math abilities while also building essential life skills, please reach out to me today. Let's work together to unlock your teen's potential and set them on a path of greater success.